and card games, and the show The Voice and KU basketball. He was loved by all who met him, and he will be missed. Okay, with that, a little bit of the lighter side. And this sometimes, if you've been to celebrations of life, can be hilarious, heartbreaking, humorous, and tragic. So, Bev has asked those of you who would like to come up here, take the mic, and impart a special Terry Cobb story. We invite you to come up here. When you're done, next person come up, next person come up, until the wine is gone. Do I have a first volunteer?
Good to see so many people here honoring Terry. Terry and I met when we were in kindergarten, and we've been very good friends ever since. That's a long time ago now. I'm wondering how come everybody here looks older than the last one I saw you. I admired Terry very much, but I never told him that. He was really good at everything he did. Like when he was in high school, he ran the half mile. And he was one of the best in the state. You would have never known that when he was 50 or 60, but you know, I still remember him being really blonde, 150 pounds, and very, very agile. He played the trumpet, and Linda Lee's here, whose dad taught trumpet, and she just told me a few minutes ago that her dad said that Terry had the best tone of any trumpet player that he had ever worked with. He played tennis, as you know. He would play tennis with me, and he would stand like right next to the box where it's out if it goes past that line. And most of the time he could return it. He just taught me to serve it really fast and get it by you. And it would be remarkable when he would return it. He was so good at playing the trumpet that he was asked to join the Fabulous Flippers. How many of you know the Fabulous Flippers? I could have really seen him do it. He played bridge. We played bridge with my aunts, and he was good enough to play with them. And I knew when he wanted to get the bid because his nose would twitch back and forth. And he usually got the bid. So Terry and I went together on a student exchange program to Copenhagen. And so we were at the University of Copenhagen for a semester. And we had more fun and adventure than you can possibly imagine. So they told us at the school to stay away. Copenhagen is very safe, but we're supposed to stay away from this one area. And it's the red light district, the sailor district, called Newhound. So we waited till our hair got down over our ears, and then of course we go to Newhound. And so we're sitting quietly at this drunken bar, and this giant sailor stumbles around, and he just happens to sit on half of the stool with Terry. So Terry's leaning over against me like this, with a scared look on his face. I elbow him as hard as I can, and of course he bumps into the drunken sailor, and the drunken sailor falls flat on the floor. But we're out of there before he can get up. So. And Terry forgives me, you know, like he's a very forgiving guy. We had so much fun over there. We hitchhiked down to Munich. We bought an old Volkswagen. We drove it across Europe, up into Sweden. And I'll never forget this image, but the car finally died on our way up to Stockholm. And Terry was really frustrated with the car. So, I don't know if you remember, but back then, the Porsche convertibles had a little swoop to them, the top of them. Anyway, Terry gets up on top of this Volkswagen convertible and jumps up and down on it. So it looks like one of those little Mercedes sports cars. And then that's not good enough, so he jumps down onto the hood of it. But one of the last images I want you to think about, and it's an image of the way I remember him. We were on a ferry going from Italy to the island of Capri, which is part of Italy. And he takes his trumpet and he's playing just beautifully. And the crowd, sun setting, on our way to Capri, and Terry gets standing ovation from the crowd. So, anyway, thank you very much.
How's everybody doing? My name is Brian Cobb. I'm Terry Cobb's son. I know some of you, but not a lot of you, but wanted to share some memories with my dad, my wife Kristen, my daughter Jessica. I don't have my memorized, and I wasn't as good as wordsmithing as my father was, but put together some good memories. When I was very young, my dad and I would wake up early on Saturday mornings, and we would go to the YMCA, and we'd swim together, and then have breakfast at the bird's nest. I remember he used to spin me around the pool with such a simple and happy time. Years later, he would wake me up very early on the weekends when he was successful in getting me up, and we would go running together and talk about his early years when he ran track. Throughout grade school, middle school, we played the trumpet together. I still have his trumpet, which he got from his father, and we played quite a bit when we were young together. During my high school and college years, my dad always seemed to fix things. He fixed things for a lot of people, I think. He'd get me out of speeding tickets, among other things. I recall a time when I was depressed, he bought me my first motorcycle, which was great fun. Although looking back, it probably was a pretty dangerous gift because of the way I rode that motorcycle. Throughout the years, my dad always made me feel better. Whether I was sad or I was afraid, he always had something kind and wise to say. He always talked to me about the books I should read. He even offered me $500 once to read a book, but he was unsuccessful. I can't remember what the title was, but I always read the comments he wrote in the first part of the book, and then I also read a summary about the book to get the gist. But I got the big picture. When my dad met my father-in-law, Hal Carlin, who passed away 6 years ago, they talked quite a bit about playing tennis together sometime. I'm sure they're having that match right now. My dad and I always talk about climbing a mountain together. This is something I think we'll have to do when my time comes. I'm very sad. I wish I was better at having something great to say or some great speech or some words of wisdom. But the one thing I'd like to share with you is that 2 weeks before my dad died, I spoke to him about God, Jesus, and Christian faith. Well, I already knew this. He assured me that he did believe in God, that Jesus died for our sins, and he was a firm believer in his faith. This is something, and probably the only thing that gives me comfort. I'd like to share 2 verses from the Bible, just because they mean a lot to me when I think about my dad. The first is 1 Theologians 4:13 through 14. Brothers and sisters, we do not want you to be uninformed about those who sleep in death, so that you do not grieve like the rest of mankind who have no hope. For we believe that Jesus died and rose again, and so we believe that God will bring Jesus to those who have fallen asleep in him. One more verse, and then I'll get this wrapped up. John 14:1 through 3. Do not let your hearts be troubled. You believe in God, believe in me also. My Father's house has many rooms. If that were not so, would I have not told you where I'm going to prepare a place for you? And if I go and prepare a place for you, I will come back and take you with me, so that you may also be where I am. I'd like to say a quick prayer. Everybody can bow their heads, so appreciate that. Dear Lord, thank you, God, for blessing me with Terry Cobb as my father. Thank you for bringing Terry in the lives of everyone here as he touched so many people in so many different ways. I pray for comfort for everyone here who is grieving in his passing. I know that he's with you now in heaven, having a good time. He's probably playing the trumpet, running again, and playing tennis. Amen. Thank you.
Amen.
Hello, I'm Terry's daughter, Reagan. Most of you know me as a blonde. That recently changed. My dad and I, we shared an incredible bond in this lifetime. I was always a daddy's girl. We were always holding hands, or I was riding on his shoulders. He always lifted me up, and he always made me feel like I could do anything. He adored me, and I adored him. He was more than my dad. He was my advisor, my mentor, my friend, my hero. I learned from a young age about unconditional love for people and for animals through him. He also instilled in me great love for music. As a little girl, we would gather around the piano as my mom would play and he would sing and play his trumpet. His favorite piece was by Chuck Mangione called Feels So Good. I loved to hear him play that, and it's etched in my mind forever. He was always whistling or singing. He had a beautiful voice. I remember sitting in the car, listening to the radio and singing songs together on our way to gymnastics practice every single day. He taught me the importance of lyrics and how to see life with a deeper meaning and never to just skim the surface. As I moved around the country for my career, he would always send me his favorite books to read after he was finished with them. And in return, I would send him my favorite music CDs. He took a great interest in one particular song, written by Mark Anthony for his daughter, Ariana. Without my knowledge, he took several weeks to learn the lyrics on his own. And one day as he picked me up from the airport, he stopped the car, turned up the volume, and played the song and sang it to me. My baby you are the reason I can fly. Because of you, I don't have to wonder why. Baby you, there's no more just getting by. You're the reason I feel so alive. Your smile turns my world around, keeping my feet on the ground. I will soothe you if you fall. I'll be right there if you call. You are my greatest love of all. As I sat and listened to him sing these lyrics, his eyes teared up. Now that he's gone, this song will forever hold a special place in my heart, as I now can see the song's message through his eyes. Although it came a little sooner than we expected, we knew for a long time he was not well. We had many deep conversations, and he would frequently reminisce with myself about our good times together and how we shared a special father-daughter bond that could never be broken. So I would close with this. My dad's blood runs through me. A big part of his soul is in me. Many people tell me I remind them of my dad, both spiritually and physically. I did inherit his eyes, a little bit cat-like, but warm and inviting to other people. He may now be gone, but these are things that can never, ever be taken away from me. I am so lucky and so blessed. I will always remember what my dad has taught me in this lifetime, the love he showed me, and I promise to always pay it forward in his honor. Thank you.
Those of us in the tennis community have lost a good friend, a supporter, someone that we played with for years, and later on was our captain. Being our captain, he's a terrible driver. He picked us up one day as we were going to Wichita. He has it full of oatmeal. His secretary has with all these contacts on it. On this side, newspaper over here. And we're going 80 miles an hour towards Wichita. Mike Chico says, hell no, we're not doing this. You got to put at least 2 of those down. So, not too long ago, we were at Surprise, Arizona. We all flew in together. I drew the short straw and had to ride with Terry to Surprise from the airport. I had my phone, so we had directions, and I say, Terry, we need to turn here in a mile to the right. You're in the left lane. Don't worry about it. Terry, we got a quarter mile. I know. All of a sudden, he goes. Car screech. It was, I'm glad that I got there alive. But maybe the best story, we were at a sectional in Des Moines, Iowa. Terry was supposed to be at a captain's meeting at 6 o'clock. We get ready to go out to eat. I get a phone call. Jim, will you go to the captain's meeting for me? Whoa. Where are you? I'm in Omaha. So, Bev, you must not be a very good navigator. We all know Terry had, like the absent-minded professor is what we called him, brilliant mind that was always going. And from the tennis community and all of the friends that knew him, he will be missed.
My name is Nancy Saylor. I'm one of Terry's first cousins. Thank you.
I apologize. I've done a lot of public speaking and this has never happened. Okay, I'll start over. My name is Nancy Saylor. I am one of Terry's 12 first cousins. I guess the most unique thing I have to share with you all, up until I knew that my 90-year-old aunt was attending this evening, Virginia Martinson, and she is here. The one thing that is very unique with Terry and myself is that I have probably known Terry longer than any of you in this room. We were born 3 months apart. We were raised very close together as babies, toddlers, and young children. Then about 2.5 years later, my sister came along. And the three of us, as we were young children, were kind of like the Three Musketeers. We did everything together. On Christmas Eve, our huge Martinson family got together with all the cousins, aunts, and uncles. The one thing I'd like to share with you about Terry that was kind of a fun thing and one of the most memorable ones for my sister and I think Terry as well, is one day we were out, we were probably Terry and I were probably 9 or 10, Linda was probably about 7, and my folks had built a home out in the country. We came across an old rusty milk can that had a skunk in it with 3 baby skunks. Well, we got to know very quickly the mother's wrath of protecting her babies. And then when we got home to my parents' home, we encountered my mother's wrath for getting into the skunk. And the 3 of us literally were tossed into a tub of water with probably a whole bottle of Clorox. Our skin was bright red by the time we were through with that. Terry and I continued to keep in contact through our young adult years. Terry and Joyce, my husband Mark and I, and 2 other couples had a supper club. And we would get together about every 6 weeks, the 8 of us, and cook and just have the most marvelous time. We enjoyed trips to the plaza to see the Christmas lights. The supper club went on for 7 years. And then we took some gourmet cooking classes together. So I enjoyed many wonderful memories of Terry in my childhood and young adult years. Towards the end of the gourmet cooking classes, the subject of dancing lessons came up. No one, except my husband, was ready to take on the dancing lessons. So that's where the group ended. But we have so many memorable memories. My brother Breck, also, who came along 10 years later, was very much a part of Breck's life, as was my sister Linda and myself. And we just had the best time. This was with Terry and Joyce, and the wonderful memories we shared in supper club, trips, and cooking club. In closing, I'd like to just say a very short little message that was sent to me when my mother died that is just very meaningful to me personally, but I'd like to share it with all of you. And that is, it's a quote from Emily Dickinson. "The world is not a conclusion. A sequel lies beyond. Invisible as music, but positive as sound." Terry is with us all. Thank you. I'm the third one of the Three Musketeers, Terry, Nancy, and I. Nancy's my sister. And there's so many memories of Terry, but I think a big one is when we used to play down at the creek all the time and get sticks and try to catch crawdads. Just on my way over here, I decided that I would just sing a little bit of a song. It's so meaningful for me. So give me a moment to try to figure out what key signature I should sing it in. Oh, we never know where life will take us. No, it's just a ride on the world. And we never know when death will shake us. And we wonder how it would feel. So goodbye, my friend. I know I'll definitely see you again. The time we spent through all these years take away my fears. It's okay now. Goodbye, my friend. You can go now. Goodbye, my friend.
That's a very tough act to follow. My name is Terry Barrett. I first briefly met Terry in 1979 when I first moved to Topeka. It wasn't until about 15 years later that our paths would cross again. At that time, I was going through a very difficult time in my life. I was living in an apartment on the southwest side of Topeka, in a place what many refer to as Wailing Walls. Terry, sensing that I was in need, invited me to lunch with two other men. The four of us continued to have lunch for the next 26 years. That's Terry, classic Terry. He was committed. More importantly, he shared with me an organization he thought would help me in my life's journey. Each of us here knew Terry in a very special way. Today I want to share with you and honor the Terry I know through mutual membership in a group called the Mankind Project. Terry Cobb, brother. Terry was on a lifelong quest to be a brother to both men and women. Maybe because he was an only child. Never before have I met such a man who truly wanted to connect with others. Terry Cobb was one of the driving forces who brought the Mankind Project to the heartland. This organization helped us find acceptance and brotherhood. We came from all walks of life. We wanted to be better and more honest human beings. We wanted to be more accepting of ourselves and others. Terry Cobb, friend. Friendship with Terry was not dependent upon age, wealth, class, race, politics, or religion. More important measures of a person's character were integrity and authenticity. Terry gave freely of his diverse talents, skills, and interests to others, all for their benefit. Terry Cobb, mentor. Some of us may have wished our own fathers were more like Terry. He listened, he cared. He led by example, pushing others to achieve. He held us accountable for our actions, but he did so out of love. And we trusted Terry. We knew he was unwavering
and support of our progress and personal growth. Terry Cobb, passionate. I truly believe Terry measured his success by the help he gave to others and the joy he brought them. His innate drive to be competitive paved his way to many involvements in this community. Junior achievement for fifth graders, USD 501, the Shawnee County Master Gardeners, the Topeka Tennis Association, and the Mankind Project, to name a few. Terry Cobb leaves a lasting legacy in Topeka of integrity, friendship, and community service. I miss Terry. Our brothers miss Terry. He was a man among men. His kindness was legendary. His passing leaves a big hole in our lives, but an enduring, positive part on our hearts. Thank you.
I'm Danny Jones. I met Terry 25 years ago in a men's group. And I continue to stay with Terry in this men's group for the next 25 years. This was the Mankind Project. Over the past 25 years, I've continued to sit in the circle of men with Terry. Terry, along with the two other men, brought the Mankind Project to the heartland. In Kansas City, Lawrence, and Topeka. Today, there are 200 men in our community. Terry joined the Mankind Project in 1992. He drove to Indianapolis, Indiana. At his New Warrior training adventure, he chose an animal name, Loving Husky. At this same New Warrior training adventure, he created for himself a mission. Terry's mission was to heal the wounded child within others. In 2015, Terry was nominated and he received the Ron Herring Award from the Mankind Project for his service to our community. In our men's group, we practice authenticity and we practice accountability and integrity. Terry was a champion of these principles. He wasn't perfect. He wasn't perfect. But he held himself to a higher standard. We also practice connecting with our feelings and expressing them. If you were fortunate enough to get one of Terry's hugs, you know what I'm talking about. So, I would like to ask you, as brothers and sisters, as family with Terry, would you please stand and we will honor him and bless him by saying his animal name 3 times and following it with the word aho, which it means I hear you. And if you will, Loving Husky, Loving Husky, Loving Husky, aho!
Hopefully this thing is on. Bear with me, I'm terrible at public speaking. I'm Lacey Weber. I am Bev's oldest daughter, so Terry has been my stepdad for around 30 years. So he has been a huge part of my life. I don't really have any super articulate stories, more a plethora of ridiculous memories. Terry taught me how to blow my first smoke ring at the age of like 11. So we obviously didn't tell mom that until much later in life. So Terry is an avid tennis player. We used to go into Wood Valley and watch him play tennis, my sister and I and my mom, and then we'd go out to eat at Bennigan's. So it's out there on the boulevard, and we lived in Dover. Those of you who are familiar with the area, I would ride with Terry, my sister would ride with my mom, and we raced home. So it's about 15 miles, give or take, and there's a turn coming out of Pauline heading toward Dover where the road splits, and Terry went the wrong direction down this road to meet my mom. So he is not, he's not a good loser. Those of you who have played tennis with him, or cards, or anything in life, he is just super competitive. So those are some fun memories. He never let my sister or I ever win. He used to play his trumpet till way past my sister and I's bedtime, and my mom would end up yelling at him so that we could go to bed. Oh gosh, there's so many memories. A few years ago, he got a pair of binoculars for Christmas. So here we are Christmas morning, and he's turned, looking out the back window, ignoring the rest of us. And we ask him what he's looking at. He turns around and tells us whatever he wants. Very Terry fashion. So thank you so much, everybody, for coming. I know that everybody has busy lives, but it means the world to us that you come out to support him. So he was very loved. He's very active in his community. And God, he loved his community. So thank you so much.
I sense that the natives were restless. Getting to that point in the evening. There's no way I can top all of those stories. I don't even know if I can come up with anything different. It's already been said. I'm Steve Kirk, by the way. I probably spent more time with him over the last 37 years than almost any other person would. We saw each other 5 to 7 days a week for all that time. Partners together, friends. There was nobody quite like Terry, as you all know. Highly competitive, horrible driver, you're right. And now, I was thinking recently, in fact, we had our first sales meeting this morning since Terry's passing. And I was mentioning to the group because he always had a segment. And that would be our comedy for today. He always had a story. The stories a lot of times involve animals at home. I can't repeat them because they're just so unbelievable, all these stories. Again, I think some of them were true. Beth, were all these stories about animals at home true, the chickens, starting with 30 and then they ended up with 3 one time. How about the split level chicken bone? Is that true? Yeah. Anyway, Terry once told me, and we were, as I say, we developed a close friendship over time, but he once told me that I was the brother he never had, which was like the most amazing compliment. But knowing Terry the way I know Terry, I probably wasn't the only person that said that. Anyway, he will be sorely missed. He's just so integrated into my life for so long. And all of a sudden have him missing from that, I don't know how to explain it. Everybody I've talked to that knew him was such a live, vibrant person. says the same thing. We just can't, of all the people, we just can't believe that Terry's gone. It'll be a big hole in our lives, a big hole in our hearts for those that were so close to him. And then finally, there's one other thing that I want to say. Outside of Bev and Joyce and his kids have been so amazing through all this time. Bev has been a real trooper, having to make a lot of decisions that she wasn't expecting to have to make on her own, because Terry never believed he was going to die. So he never made any arrangements of any kind, never shared any of his wishes about burial or cremation with her, never even had a DNR when the situation came up, and she had to make all these decisions, and she just did an amazing job. But for those of you that are realtors, and I think most of you have known Terry for a long, long time, and so you knew what a fun guy he was and how easy he was to get along with in transactions, that he would bend over backwards to try to make the transaction work. And the last couple of years, Terry's felt so bad and been so down. And there was a certain anger that came along with it. So I know I heard him more than once slam a receiver, chew out another agent on a transaction, and those kind of things. And I'm here to tell you that was not Terry Cobb. So any of you that know anybody that had an issue that said that Terry Cobb, he's a real jerk or whatever, you set him straight. Terry Cobb was no jerk. He was the real thing. He was a realtor through and through. He's just one of the best I have ever seen, ever. I was proud to be involved with him all these years.
I guess I kind of represent the tennis community. I just want to say, Terry stopped playing tennis years ago. He couldn't do it anymore physically, but he continued to be involved all these years as the president of the Topeka Tennis Association. He was dedicated to tennis, and we all loved him for it. There's a line in the song "Hands" by Jewel that says, "In the end, only kindness matters." Terry Cobb really mattered. Thank you.